Okay. Okay, greetings, everybody. Glad to see you all again. Glad you could join us. I want to go ahead and get started. Hopefully we'll have a good meeting today. So let me get to the agenda here. So as always, want to thank our sponsors, Care First Health Plan, Valley of the Sun, United Way, Satellite Broadcasting, Communications, Khajiit, and you're going to hear from Khajiit from Ryan in just a little while. Triad Wireless and Karen Ziegler Consulting Services. So that's it. We have, I think, several new people this afternoon. Ryan, you're going to introduce yourself later. But let's see who we've got here. Kirk. Amber, I think this is your first time being here, aren't you?
Yes, it is.
So you want to introduce yourself, Amber?
Yeah. Hi, my name is Amber Wells. I'm from the Pima County Community and Workforce Development Department down here in Tucson. And I am the program coordinator for virtual engagement. Okay,
great. Thanks, Amber. Glad you're joining us today. And Scott Carey?
Yes, Scott Carey. I'm a telecom manager for Horrocks engineering firm here in Arizona. We actually have a presence in other states as well.
And what company is that, Scott?
Horrocks.
Okay. And anybody else who's new to us today?
Yes, this is Petra Falcon here in Phoenix, Arizona, Executive Director, Promise, Arizona, and this is my first time and glad to be with you all.
Oh, good. Glad you made it today.
Thank you.
You bet. Okay, so moving on. Just a quick note, you may have already noticed. Well, first of all, I know we're having some website issues, so hopefully we're going to get that cleaned up and fixed in the fairly near future. In the meantime, I have changed the Zoom transcript. So now I'm providing you a link rather than a document to Otter AI, where you can not only review the transcript, but as you're reviewing it, if you want to listen to it, you can actually double click on the paragraph that you're reading, and you can actually hear the discussion. So I'm going to continue to do that on into the future. Okay. So updates. I don't know if Sandeep, I know I talked to him last week, and I know he's overwhelmed at this point. So Nicole, do you have some updates for us today? Nicole, are you there? You were there a minute ago. Okay. Oh, there's Petra. So Petra, do you want to introduce yourself real quickly?
I just did a while ago.
Sure. Okay.
I'm going to introduce myself again.
Sure.
I'm Petra Falcon. How are you? I'm native to Arizona. I'm with Promise, Arizona, and glad to be with you all. Interesting to hear what you all are doing.
So you're a recipient of a grant, is that correct?
Yes, we will be doing that. We will be doing some of the field work.
And so we'll come back to that in just a little while. I want to talk about that. So I'm sorry, Nicole, are you still here?
Doesn't look like it, Steve.
Oh, she was here a minute ago.
I know.
Okay. So moving on, then let's just get down to our presentation today, and then we'll come back.
Steve, I can give you a little update.
Okay. Oh, yeah, Cindy, I'm sorry. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, Cindy Hogan. I'm the new digital equity program manager for the state of Arizona, and I'm working with Sandeep, and we don't have a whole lot to report, just getting the broadband office staffed up to manage all the work we have coming with the digital equity plan and the BEAD funding. And basically, if there are NOFOs out for both the digital equity plan and the BEAD program, and so most of what's in those is what's going on. We're a little busy to try and give a lot of specific updates, but we're moving forward, and I'm glad that everybody's here, and I'll put my email in the chat so everybody knows how to reach me. Thank you.
Great. Thanks, Cindy. And I'm going to include you on, I'm sorry I skipped you, but I definitely want to include you regularly. And Sandeep may or may not be here, but want to include you on a regular basis for an update. Okay. I don't know, is Alicia, are you online? And I want to look at the participants here. Don't think so today.
I don't see Alicia either. No.
No.
Nope.
Okay, well, moving on. So let's get right into, so Mauricio, are you here today? Apparently not. Where is everybody today? But Aaron, do you want to give us a quickie update? I know you and Mauricio have been communicating. Can you give us a quickie update on what's happening with the sign up campaigns?
Sure. Not a ton of information on that front, other than what I shared last week, that we put out an email to the county librarians and all the public library directors in the state, alerting them to the fact that the continuous enrollment for Medicaid ended on the 1st. And so they might get questions from their patrons about how to get back enrolled and all of that. And so we're just kind of sharing out the information at this point. On the ACP print campaign front, still not a huge update there either. However, I was able to connect with the folks who will be sending the print job in, and we were able to update the back of the flyer to include local contact information for both Connect Arizona's digital navigators, as well as the navigators at the Digital Equity Institute at ASU. So when we get those items printed and out to our libraries, they'll have a local contact for connection to work through the ACP sign-up process. So those are my updates at this time. Thank you.
Okay, you bet. Does anybody know, is there any extension of time for people to get renewed for excuse me, for access?
Well, I can speak to that sort of. So basically, it's a year-long process to go through all of the people who would be dropped. I mean, it's not like a tomorrow they're done kind of thing. They're working through their lists of people who need to reestablish eligibility, and so it will be kind of like a rolling happening, if you will. It's just that going forward, they'll have to go back to how it was pre-pandemic, where they prove eligibility yearly.
Okay, so if they miss it wasn't the April 1st deadline, they still can.
Well, that's the date at which the continuous enrollment ends. So it's not that they're immediately without health care. It's just that was the date that the process for the re-enrollment and the going back to the way that things were prior to the pandemic is in effect again, if that makes sense.
Okay. Any questions for Aaron? So Petra, Aaron's one of the people you definitely want to connect with.
I hear that. Yeah.
Yeah.
I will do that.
Okay. So as long as
Petra, I was just going to say, Petra, for context, I actually am the digital inclusion library consultant with the state library. So I'm just helping with the access and Medicaid re-renewal stuff, getting the information out. But it's nice to meet you, and congratulations on your grant.
And yes, I would love to talk to you about those issues. Those are really, really important in our community. And
Fantastic.
so
I'll put my email in the chat so that we can connect offline.
So I'm hoping next week that we have 4 communities who have received those ACP grants, and hoping that we will have them all together next Monday to get an update on who's got grants, what they're planning to do, where they can connect with each other, and where they connect with people like Aaron and all the other folks who participate with the task force. So that's my tentative plan.
Steve, we're meeting with all of these folks tomorrow with the city of Phoenix. So I'm happy to mention it to them and give them the link for the meeting.
Well, we've been in touch now with 3 of them.
Oh, okay.
And we've got the other one is pending.
Oh, Canino.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Coconino is pending, so I've outreached to them, but didn't hear back from them
Oh,
today.
good. Okay,
So,
cool.
but that's fine,
I've
that's
heard-
fine, sure, go
Steve,
ahead. And
I've been in touch with Coconino, so
Oh.
I had actually invited them to the meeting tomorrow.
Oh,
Elena.
thanks, Cindy.
Yeah.
Great.
Okay, so anyway,
Could you pop up that last email real quick? Because I didn't get it all. elorandos@arizonalibrary.web.
I think she
got it.
put it in the chat, Petra, because she's
Oh, okay,
driving.
I'll get it in the chat. If you put it
Yeah,
there.
no, you're good. I'm just in Carline at my daughter's school. I'm sorry. It's ELORANDOS@azlibrary.gov.
Got it. Thank
Thank
you.
you.
and also Petra, just for your information, after the meeting, hopefully in the next couple of days, that I send out a summary of the meeting, including the list of people who have registered for this meeting today. It has their contact information, phone, email, etc.
Good, great.
So we try to do that all the time. Okay, anything more about that? If not, let's move on to our presentation today. And I want to introduce Ryan Froley. Is that correct, Ryan?
It's close. I know it doesn't look like it, but it's actually Fraley is how you would pronounce it.
Fraley.
I should have known that after we just talked.
That's okay. Yeah, not a problem.
So do you want to share anything? Do you want to share, Ryan? Should I stop sharing?
Yeah, I had put together a little slideshow
Okay.
for everybody. So if I'm able to share that.
So Ryan, if I can, Ryan. So Ryan is kind of the new guy representing Arizona with excuse me, with Khajiit. And Khajiit got involved with us early, has been a sponsor for us, and hopefully they will continue to be a sponsor. So with that, had a good chance. Khajiit's been doing some great stuff. Some of our folks have been in touch with them in the past. So I thought that after Ryan reached out and said, "Hey, I want to be involved with the task force," that this be a good time for him to give us an update about Khajiit. So with that, Ryan, you're on.
Awesome. Well, I appreciate it, Steve. Yeah, I for those of you that maybe don't know, I just connected with Steve last week and said, hey, I live in Gilbert. I'm seeing some of the things that are being done kind of as at the state level, but as well as like in Phoenix and some of the smart city initiatives and different things. And it was interesting to kind of read about all the things that are being done really kind of in my backyard as a resident of Gilbert. So I'm privileged to be a part of it. And I thank Steve. Thank you for allowing me to come say a quick hello and kind of introduce ourselves. I think Khajiit is probably familiar to some of you. And maybe not to others. I don't want to turn this into like a salesy type of overview or anything of that nature. I just like to let you know that we have a presence here in Arizona and kind of what we do, because it's very much in alignment with a lot of the things that you guys are working on, mainly in the areas of digital literacy, digital inclusion, and just kind of connecting people to information, right? And particularly like students and education. That's kind of where we started. So about 12 years ago or so, we started provisioning schools with smart spots. Today, a lot of times you hear them called hotspots, right? Kind of for mobile connectivity. It's great that students are being given homework at home to do online, but I think 7 out of 10, latest statistics, about 70% of all teachers are assigning homework to be done online and in some capacity. But as you and I both know, not everybody has that ability to go home and connect to the internet. So that's really kind of been Khajiit's mission to kind of really help bridge that homework gap for the most part. So we started off, again, kind of in education. But again, if you're providing internet, you have some duties, in our opinion, to kind of then make sure that search, that access to that internet is safe. And so we do come with CIPA compliant filters for all of our devices that we hand out to schools. So really, in addition to schools, it's really about kind of connecting the community. So I know that we work, for example, we work with Pima County library system. We're working with Casa Grande currently right now. So it's really kind of just expanding it out, not just the school, but also kind of out into the community, because beyond just students, obviously we know that those that are underconnected as a community are at a notable disadvantage. But this is kind of essentially where we got our foothold. So one of the things that we do is we are carrier agnostic, is what that refers to. What that means is basically we can send out devices and have them operate on AT&T or Verizon or US Cellular or T-Mobile, but they're all housed and managed under one pane of glasses, which is our Sentinel platform. This is where we institute our filtering. This is where you can kind of see some allowed traffic versus some blocked traffic, right? We are not in the business of providing just broadband internet access for everyone unfiltered. This is mainly for educationally related purposes. Not so Timmy can go home after school and stream Netflix till 2 a.m. Not at all the point of our program. So you can kind of see here some of the things that we would allow and not allow. But the analytics, this is really big for a lot of our customers, is to be able to drive reporting, right? We can kind of, during the height of the pandemic, distance learning was it was definitely kind of, it had never been needed as much as it had been needed at that time, I guess is what I'm trying to say. So having the analytics to then support that, a lot of schools made use of ECF funding, which is going to require you to kind of keep tabs on data usage and utilization in terms of how that relates to your free lunch and reduced lunch programs, that sort of thing. So having that ability, that visibility to run reports, again, kind of do some tweaking to your filtering. There's suspend and unsuspend, there's check-in, check-out features, all kind of housed in one is our Sentinel platform here. And this is what it looks like. This is what a lot of our libraries and schools have. It's a basic kit with a smart spot, a charger, a case, a quick start guide. We branched out then. This was kind of what we'd been giving out to schools for quite some time. And then we branched out and we actually started working with Acer and with CTL to offer LTE embedded. So kind of take that smart spot cellular connectivity technology and put that actually into a computer, into a laptop, into a Chromebook. And now your one-to-one devices for schools now have the ability anywhere, whether when they're on campus, they can connect to Wi-Fi. But when they're off campus, they can connect to cellular connectivity. So anywhere on the planet that has, Verizon coverage, for example, that student can hop on and have access to online resources to get their homework done. So this has been a welcome addition for us. And it's been, well received by a lot of school districts who have one-to-one programs, but also recognizing that just because the student has a laptop, doesn't necessarily mean that they go home and have that internet access, right? So this kind of solves that problem for them. And we also started to put it on buses. I don't know if too many of you are familiar with our smart bus solution, but it basically just kind of extends the classroom. We work all over the country, and there's a lot of areas, especially like Wyoming, Iowa, parts of the Midwest, parts of New Mexico and Arizona even, that are very rural. And there's an hour-plus ride to and from school in the morning. So that's 45 minutes to an hour before school, 45 minutes to an hour plus after school. That kids are just sitting there, doing nothing. And sometimes we see behavioral issues, right? Kids are kind of bored and have nothing to do than to start picking on each other. Really, this is just a way to kind of extend that to allow students to have access to online resources while in transit. And that could be before and after school, but that could also be extracurricular activities, field trips, sporting events, anything like that is kind of what our smart bus solution would be capable for. Really, we've now taken, and that's kind of the education space that we've been in for quite some time, but we're really now branching out, and this is kind of where I get excited into things like public sector and smart cities, because to me, I think this is like the Internet of Things. I have a slide here talking a little bit about that, just really kind of getting everything connected, because really the whole purpose of being connected is just to be able to share information. That's the whole reason, why the internet is so valuable to all of us, is to access and utilize information to make informed decisions. And so this is where I like to, to come in and really kind of be a part of things, because to me, I just like the advancements and the opportunities that it provides to the community. So things like smart transit, even things like monitoring garbage levels, right? So if you have a city worker, for example, that's maybe routinely running around to all the different parks to check garbage levels, we could put in and install sensors to where they will send us messages to let us know when those garbages are full. So instead of just blindly sending somebody out into the field, they're actually being smarter about their workday and going in and just checking on the trash cans that are in need. So, but starting off, I'm trying to reach out to Valley Metro right now to kind of see. I don't think there's any sort of like passenger Wi-Fi opportunities for them, for passengers and commuters. So that's something we're working with. And then lastly would be 5G and private LTE networks. So especially we're starting to work, especially with NTIA, working a lot with tribal communities and in rural areas where sadly, cable companies don't see it, as a profitable thing for them to go lay and install cable or fiber. Or maybe, the major carriers like AT&T and Verizon, maybe they don't see that this particular city is populous enough to make it worth their while to go up and throw up a tower. We can actually go ahead and build your own private network for that community to operate under. And we do that with schools. We do that with entire communities. So that's been something, probably the most recent development with Khajiit's capabilities. And again, lastly, kind of just taking a look, particularly for me as a resident of Arizona. I work with Arizona as well as New Mexico. So I know that there's a lot of tribal communities, a lot of rural areas that don't necessarily have connectivity readily available to them, which obviously means that they're at a notable disadvantage, and we would really like to kind of do what we can to kind of curtail that a little bit. So that's about all I had. I have my contact information here. If I'm open to any questions that you guys might have for me as well. But yeah, I guess maybe biggest takeaways is we're here. I'm happy to be a part of this. And we've been kind of working on some of the things that this task force has been working on. It sounds like we've been kind of working side by side on, like, unknowingly a little bit, kind of working towards the same goals and the same mission, is to get people connected to access information for the betterment of the community. And really, I guess in my personal opinion, I kind of just feel like having access to the internet and to have information at the house is practically just about as important as running water. It should be basically a basic utility that we should be able to see in every single household in America. And so I'm really hoping that, between our concerted efforts here, that we can make that a bit more of a reality for the folks here in Arizona. So, yeah, thank you.
Peter,
Question?
I'd like to make a comment to Ryan's
Sure, go ahead.
presentation. When I work primarily in South Phoenix, and we were promoting, obviously, the construction of the light rail, and that was one of the pieces that we would talk about, is that people riding the light rail would be able to sit for at least an hour and read a book. And I haven't seen any figures anywhere. Maybe if you have some figures of how that was able to increase readership, or at least increase some kind of academic success with linking a hotspot or on a light rail somewhere, on a bus somewhere. But I think that we really need to talk about that, because I have heard that's true in other cities and other parts of the country.
Yep, it is something I am trying to reach out. They're a little hard. I haven't had much success in hearing back from them, but it is something kind of on my list of initiatives, is to work with Valley Metro Transit.
I'll get you there. I sit on one of the committees there, so.
Okay, no, that'd be great, especially even, yes, in Phoenix with the light rail, but also I think of Tempe with ASU being right there, all of the commuters, intercampus shuttles and things like that, that Valley Metro utilizes as well. So yeah, that'd be a great opportunity for the commuters here in the area. So yeah, thank you.
Great.
Petra, have you put your contact information in the chat?
I will do that.
Okay. And Ryan, I think you already have.
Yep. Well, I tell you what, I have it on the slide. I'll share it. I'll stop sharing my screen. But I will put my contact information in the chat as well. I appreciate everyone's time, and I look forward to one of many meetings to see what I can do to be a contributor here. So, yeah,
And Ryan, you talked a little bit about what you're doing in the digital inclusion space.
Yeah, absolutely. So, so we work with Head Start in certain states as well. Not every state necessarily, but we work with early childhood development programs. I know that there's research out there that says you should limit screen time for youngsters, which is definitely true. But also, we start them out usually on like a tablet, right? It's usually like a tablet that has a ruggedized case for drops and spills and that sort of thing that children might be more prone to. But it just gets them in front of a little bit of some electronics to kind of learn some of those basics, and have that connectivity, especially then once they go home, to kind of, again, extend the classroom. Same premise, same concept for our, elementary, high school, middle school students, even higher education. But yeah, just starting them a little bit younger to build some of those digital learning literacy skills that they're going to have to rely on. I think I know my youngest son is 10. And I think next year he'll be in 5th grade, and I think they're going to start passing out laptops to all the kids. So I mean, he's 10 years old. He's going to have a laptop, and he's going to need to know how to use it. So starting off a little bit younger than that with some tablets, just to kind of get some of those fundamentals, I think is very important. Likewise, we actually work with some retirement communities, kind of some senior centers as well, to kind of promote and foster some digital learning and literacy amongst our older population, which I think is great as well. So.
And I don't want to be what is it called? Repeat myself, but some of the work that we've been doing in this community is working with tablets to teach adults English. Then it works really good. And they take the tablets home so that they can do their homework.
Yep,
So,
absolutely. Yeah. That's great. That's great.
I love that you added a cell phone component to enhance Chromebooks to schools. Is that a huge premium, or like kind of a couple $100 or?
Yeah, it's, you know what, it's probably a bit more expensive than just your standard what we call that is LTE embedded. That's what that refers to, that technology. But no, I want to say, I mean, obviously, it varies a little bit based on the part of the country. We work with some resellers and different things on pricing, but no, it's definitely not, it doesn't make them astronomical by any stretch. They're very competitive in comparison to Chromebooks that don't have that feature. But because a lot of schools are going back to, or going to that one-to-one type of setup, which is great. Understanding that, hey, there's maybe a certain percentage of your student population where that one-to-one, that device doesn't particularly benefit the student off campus. Once they hop off Wi-Fi and they can't get signal, they're going to need some other solution. So this kind of pairs that smart spot technology and embeds it in. But yeah, to answer your question, no, it doesn't put it out of range. It's very much still a pretty affordable solution. And you know, depending on what the school wishes to do, they can still purchase like the extended warranty cases, that sort of thing, to kind of protect them as well, to protect their investment. Yeah.
Steve,
Yeah, go ahead, Teresa.
so I know a couple years ago, we were able to get one of the Khajiit grants. Are you all doing that again as a nonprofit to provide devices for the hotspots out? Because I haven't seen anything. So I was just wondering, is that something you guys are going to do?
Oh, I'm sorry. Was that
Yeah,
question
that was for you, Ryan.
Oh,
For
I'm sorry.
Khajiit?
Yeah. So I'm sorry. So we have put out there some like digital inclusion grants in the past. I think we did it for the past 2 years in a row. I know for sure. I would imagine we probably will do it again this year. I just, you know, it hasn't been made known to me as far as maybe when that would happen, but it's usually something that we do. I know we've done it for I've been with Khajiit 3 years, and we've done it the last 2 out of the 3 that I've been with Khajiit. So I would imagine it's something I can look into, and if you'd like, I can follow up with you offline.
Yeah, no, that'd be great. Yeah, because we still have I think we got like 20 or 25, and so it was good for the year. But we still have the devices, so if we could just get a grant to turn the services back on, we could reissue them back out if that's possible.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And a lot of times, I think part of it is they'll put them out there and they're good for that 12 months. And then we usually kind of let it be up to the school or to the you know, whoever we doled those out to kind of see if they would like to renew that service, if they felt it was valuable to their students and things. But I can definitely see about any sort of grants to kind of, I guess, re-up, so to speak, to allow that service to begin again. Yeah, absolutely.
Cool.
Yeah, no, thank you.
Teresa, you want to just tell them quickly who you are?
I'm a person that's in a box right now. I am Shrika Jackson. I'm the founder, CEO of Future Stars, Inc., as well as we have the Title I Tech program where we give out devices to the community, as well as we did hotspots to underserved and Title I schools and Title I students, and just trying to get them connected, as well as I do a STEM programming. And you mentioned, and I probably will email you because you mentioned you all do senior programming, which I just got off a call to do a senior program at a place called Grandparents Place, is where the grandparents are raising the kids. And so the grandparents don't know how to use the devices that the kids are having. So we're looking at how we can stand something up for those grandparents in those facilities.
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah, very good. Yeah, we should definitely take a moment to connect offline. Absolutely.
Yep.
Yeah, thank you.
So Ryan, you had several accolades from some folks who have used Khajiit and really seem to like your service.
I won't argue with that. You know, happy customers and happy testimonials are always something that we appreciate. So yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, good. Yeah. Well, and once again, you know, thank you to everyone for the time. Like I said, I just connected with Steve last week and he was like, hey, not only do you want to join, but you want to present to the group. So I was like, hey, you know, sure, I'll take that as an honor, you know, to be a part of things here today. So yeah, I appreciate everyone's time. Hopefully this didn't bore everybody to death here. Anyway.
Sounds great. Thanks, Ryan. Thanks for
Yes,
joining
thank you.
us and having Khajiit back involved with us again. Okay, so Molly, yes, you missed Ryan's presentation, but as you know, we'll share the video.
Thank you.
So you bet. Okay. So moving on, we have some announcements later, but before I move on, Mauricio, I think you may have joined a couple minutes late. So Aaron gave us a little bit of an update, but do you have anything else that you'd like to share or add about what's happening with the ACP and with the access signups?
Not anything new. I know that they started this enrolling people from Access on April 1st. So Saturday was the first day that this enrollment began here in Arizona. And as we had talked about earlier, this process is going to be a 9 to 12 month process, but we definitely want to get the word out early to make sure that a lot of people will not lose their coverage. I think we have mentioned this number before, where over 600,000 people in Arizona will be impacted by this. But I haven't heard anything new other than the things that we have talked about lately.
So Mauricio, if somebody gets disenrolled, can they appeal that or not?
It really depends, but I think the most important part is finding out what the options are for those folks that do not qualify anymore, maybe because they're over income now, since they haven't had to do a renewal for the last two or 3 years. Some of those people may already be working and maybe they're getting insurance through their employer. It could be that some people have moved out of state. And then you're going to have the other people that never reported any changes as far as how to get in touch with them. And those are the ones that we're mostly concerned with because they haven't really kept their address or phone number up to date. And they're not going to be able to do anything when they receive a letter from the state.
Okay. Mauricio, you want to just tell people who you are real quickly?
Hi, yes, my name is Mauricio Orozco. I'm the Community Engagement Manager for Care First Health Plan. We are one of the Access Health Plans providing services in Northern Arizona and the 5 northern counties.
And there's what, 7 of those plans in the state, is that right?
Yes, the state is divided into 3 different regions. So right now it's Northern Arizona, Central Arizona, which includes Maricopa, Pinal, and Gila counties. And then Southern Arizona is basically the rest of the state. So there's a total of 7 access health plans in the state of Arizona, and we're one of them.
So Petra, just for your information, so Mauricio is just one of those many people, as I mentioned to you briefly, is that we have a good outreach around the state and certainly is a great opportunity for partnership with you, along with, of course, the other 3 plans.
That's great. That's wonderful. That's wonderful. I spent 10 years in Southern Arizona, so know that area as well.
Cool. Okay, so moving on. Mala, there you are. So Mala, you want to give us an update on what's happening? Have you recovered from getting all the grants done?
Just about, we just.
Excuse me, Mala, introduce yourself, please.
Sure. This is Mala Muralidharan, and I am the State E-Rate Coordinator for Public Libraries. I work with the State Library of Arizona. We just finished our E-Rate application deadline. It was the day of the deadline when we last had the meeting. I think, and so I'm pleased to report that there were about 1,222 applications for schools and libraries, and the total pre-discounted amount that was applied for was $116 million. And it's the discounted amount would amount to about $86 million. So that's a lot of money that if approved, I won't say if approved, I think it's when we are approved, we would get back for our internet and internal connections for schools and libraries. So the bulk of it, of course, was applications from schools and school library consortiums. We've tried to move slowly towards having more schools and libraries consortium rather than have individual library applications, library or library system applications, mainly because that helps lower the costs as well as helps build networks around the state. So many of the schools and school districts and libraries within a particular county are connected via the same network and apply as a consortium. So we're moving slowly towards that. And in Arizona, our prices are also coming down quite a bit compared to the national average. In some places, we're able to get 1 gig for $1,000 a month, which is like $1 a meg, which I think is awesome. We also worked on state master contracts, and we have state master contracts running up to 2025 in for most carriers. But that's about what I've been working on for the last few weeks, and I'm slowly trying to focus my attention on other things that my job entails. So back to you, Steve.
Okay, so Mala, a couple of things. Shelby has an event coming up, and Mark, you put some information about the advocacy report from Shelby, but there's an event coming up in a couple of days, if I'm not mistaken, talking about anchor institutions and connectivity.
Yes, Shelby does an annual policy roadmap. I mean, updates their policy roadmap annually, although the plan itself definitely goes over that year. They do want to have their roadmap out pretty quickly, probably end of this week, if I'm not mistaken. Got my dates all mixed up a little bit after this E-rate deadline, but the policy roadmap actually looks at several areas: policy guidelines for cybersecurity, of course, policy guidelines for USF funding, policy guidelines for legislation, what advocacy they need to do, and of course, since we don't, as a state library, as a policy, we don't participate in advocacy, but we guide them with any data that they may need in order to do that. So also their policy roadmap includes working with the FCC on guidelines for E-rate and other funding for health and libraries and schools. So because Shelby works together with all these organizations. And of late, they've been working on ECF as well as to extend the deadline to advocate for extension of the ECF and ACP programs, and also any legislation like our BEAD NOFO and DE NOFO and other things like that. So the roadmap looks at all those, and you have a link to that. Thank you, Mark, for putting that link. That link takes you to the policy roadmap.
Okay. Anything else, Mala?
Not at the present. Erin is working on ACP, and we haven't made any progress yet. We're on a holding pattern for our telehealth Navajo Nation project, which will start soon. May is when we are planning to start working on that project.
Okay. Erin, do you have anything else that you want to add about the state library besides the other project you reported on earlier?
I don't, but I know Holly and Megan are here as well. So if they have anything else to add, but I'm good. Thank you.
I was just about to ask Holly. I just thought I'd first and then I'll go to Holly. So Holly, do you have anything that you'd like to add?
No, I think Mala and Aaron have it covered. Thank you.
For those of you who don't know, Holly is the state librarian. And she knows that I love her department and all the great work that they do. So I really appreciate that, Holly.
Thank you, Steve.
You betcha. You betcha. So let's see who else we got on the call here today. Let me go back and share for just a second here. Okay. I need to update this page as a matter of fact. Let's see what else we need to announce here real quickly. So a couple of things, a couple of announcements. Again, what I was referring to, I guess Shelby has a webinar, Do Anchors Hold the Key to Bead's Success? That's coming up on April the 12th. And again, in my follow-up to the meeting, I will include the link to be able to participate. And I think Mala can attest to this, that if you missed that webinar, that they do share the link, the recording afterwards. So just wanted to, I don't know, Mala, if you want to add anything more about that.
Right, the webinars are available to public only for 30 days after the conclusion of it. After that, it's available only to members. It's on the member portal.
Oh, okay.
But it is available only for 30 days.
Okay, that's good to know. All righty, moving on. And Mauricio, maybe you can speak to this or anybody else, that I believe on the 18th and 19th of April, that the Alliance for Community Health Centers conference is going to be taking place. And it seems like that would be a good place for some of us to participate and consistent with our interest with ACP. And anybody planning to attend or know anything more about that conference?
I don't know if Janet's on the call. She would know.
Yeah, she couldn't make it today, but she'll probably be here next week. But I will.
Well, I would encourage some people that really want to connect with our federally qualified health centers. I don't know if people know this or not, but this conference is basically a statewide network of community health centers that receive federal funding. And those health centers tend to be in low-income areas to get the funding. That's why they're federally qualified. So if you wanted to make additional contacts or look for partnership opportunities, I would encourage folks that want to partner with those type of anchor institutions throughout Arizona. They have a lot of those health centers in rural areas of Arizona as well. So it's a good network to be connected to. So I would encourage people that can attend just to go there and make partnerships and learn how you can, because obviously broadband has gone beyond just healthcare alone and the schools, it's everywhere. So I think it's good to think of broadband, as I have mentioned before, as a social determinant of health, which I think that's going to open a lot of additional funding opportunities if you think of broadband as social determinant of health, which is, I think it's been called that in the nation as well.
Mauricio, do you have a connection with that group?
Yes, I do. I can put that information in the chat.
So, so a couple of things come to mind for me. If I remember correctly, maybe Mauricio, you and others, that they quote have navigators who work in those organizations.
Yeah, they have a statewide network of community assisters or navigators that assist the community in applying for government programs. So they already have the experience of the paperwork and the forms and the information that those programs need to qualify. Obviously, one being ACP. the same type of paperwork. They just might need a specific training, or even if you just want to promote the program at these locations, that would be good as well.
So Mauricio, maybe we can talk offline, maybe you and Aaron and I can talk offline about contacting these folks who are planning that conference and see if there's some way that we can include some information or discussion about ACP.
Yeah, you know what? The contact person you guys already know is Alan. So Alan can definitely connect us to see if someone's interested in doing like a workshop at the conference focused on the work that we do, or, you know, there could be an opportunity there.
Good. Okay. So we can follow up. And you know Alan well also, right, Mauricio?
Yep.
Yeah. So maybe between you and Aaron and I, we can contact Alan and see if there's some way that we can connect with that conference.
Okay.
Okay. Thank you. And then again, Janet is not on the call today, but the Arizona Telemedicine Council quarterly meeting is coming up, and I believe it's open to the public. It is a web, you can participate online. It's at 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. Mountain Standard Time on April the 19th also. And so I believe that that's open to the public. And then again, Sharika, do you want to just do a quickie about your hands-on STEM fair?
Sure. April 22nd, 21 days away, we will have our 8th annual Hands-on STEM Fair. We are planning for over 300 attendees. We haven't hit that number in enrollment yet, so please share. If you are an organization that has a STEM activity that's very engaging and you would like to bring that activity to the event, you can send me an email. I will send you the application. The application is free to fill out, but I just need to know what you would need. We're always looking to expose our youth to more activities besides the 6 that we're going to host. So our goal is about 20 activities, and I think we're about 12 right now. So we would love to have you come out and host an activity, or if your organization is looking to sponsor an event that is held in South Phoenix to increase STEM education and STEM awareness, we also are taking sponsors. So we would appreciate your support. Thanks.
So Sharika, same question. Is there an opportunity somewhere in that to promote ACP or the adults that attend, or
parents are parents are definitely there. There's definitely the opportunity to have the information and talk with individuals if someone.
Okay.
Yep.
So if anybody who's working with ACP who wants to connect with Sharika and see if there's some way to include ACP signups with that event, I think it'd be a great thing. Okay. Last thing is an announcement. Excuse me, the Arizona Technology Council and Peter and I believe the Department of Ed, you're online in just a couple minutes, but the Arizona Technology Council Cybersecurity Summit is coming up on May the 11th in Phoenix. Good opportunity if you're interested in cybersecurity. It's a good opportunity to connect with other people who are working in cybersecurity. Are there any other announcements before we backtrack here for a minute? So Philip, are you online? I thought I saw you, Philip Sang.
Yes, sir.
There you are. So Philip, you got anything you want to tell us about?
Well, from last week, Shelby Brown, our Tribal and Rural Community Coordinator, she hosted the Tribal and Rural Roundtable in Maricopa, and we got to see their CTE program. Anybody that wants to check that out, you can check out their Instagram on 24PinTech. So that was really cool to see. We have no other updates from ODTL at this time. So yeah, that's about it.
Okay.
Hey, Philip, do you want to cover the Final Mile awards?
No, Rory, you're supposed to do that. Per my
Oh man, I appreciate but there were 3 more that I didn't get. So, you know.
Yeah, I can do that. So we had Final Mile Phase 4 go out. The bids were due last Friday and the awards were approved by the board this morning. So Ash Fork and Grand Canyon was awarded to ComNet. Yucca was awarded to Scary Communications, and CiviQ was awarded to Triad Wireless.
Okay.
Rory, I'm telling Mylan, I did your part.
No.
Okay, any questions for Philip? So Philip, you mentioned Shelby Brown, and you and I chatted a little bit that hopefully within the possibly next week, I finally connected with Janet. And what I'm hoping to do is to include DES and Shelby and Janet, and I've talked a little bit with Mala about trying to get a kind of a picture, a little panel discussion at our meeting, probably next week, on what's happening in Indian country. And so we have some key people with our various institutions who are working in those communities right now, and it'd be good to get a kind of a snapshot of what's happening. So that's kind of my plan, hopefully next week or the week after. So anything else, any other announcements? Rory, you have anything else that you want to add?
No, Philip just said all the other final mile projects are officially completed. I think except for Sonoyta, and we're just waiting for some paperwork on them. But like Philip said, we got another one, the CiviQ Tribe, which we're looking at right now, trying to get that deployed as quick as possible.
Okay. Anything else? Any other announcements, events coming up, things that you want people to know about? Hearing none. Just a reminder that we do our kibitzing with colleagues after this event. We stop recording and just have an informal discussion, sharing. It may last 2 minutes. It may last an hour. It could be 3 people. It could be 1. It could be whatever. So if you're interested in staying on afterwards, you're more than welcome to do that.
You know what? I do have one minor, real quick one. I don't know how much, but one of the early final mile projects we got was Paloma, which is outside of Gila Bend in Arizona. We just launched Gila Bend last week with 500 meg wireless service. We turned it on this morning, and our guys are starting to install. We've got about 5 people out there, but it will be 1 gigabit per second complete wireless over the next 3 months. So it'll be the first one of that level of performance.
Cool. So Jocelyn, I see that you're online, and if I do this update with what's happened in Indian country, I would definitely like to have you participate also.
That'd be great. Thank you so much, Steve.
Yeah, so just remind people, Jocelyn, what you do.
Sure. Hi, everybody. I'm Jocelyn Beard. I'm the Tribal Relations Manager for DES. I oversee the Office of Tribal Relations, and I'm out of the Director's Office.
So can you tell us a little bit about what that entails in working with the folks on the reservations?
Sure. So as you know, DES is a fairly large department, and we have 7 divisions plus 1 program, which is the Arizona Early Intervention Program. And so I have a team of tribal liaisons for each of the divisions to be the point of contact for tribal governments, tribal staff, tribal members, tribal families, or in connecting with DES. And so we are a support and resource for the department. We are also involved with tribal consultations, so we definitely make sure that any kind of changes, policy, programmatic, that are coming through the pike, we are including the tribes as far as how they would like to be consulted in those changes or what kind of impacts it might have. We also want to make sure that any state plan or planning of any sorts that are happening within the department, whether it be a TANF state plan or a SNAP state plan, we are involving the tribes at the very start of conversation so that they're at the table when those are being drafted. And so we definitely are a resource and a support for the department, and each of the tribal liaisons are SMEs within their division. So if you have any questions, we do have our tribal relations website up on for DES. We have all of our previous tribal consultation reports. We have our newsletter that we just released for the third quarter. So that's up on our website. We have tribal informational forums that we have every other month. Our next one is going to be this month on April 26th. And that's via Zoom, and it's breakout sessions. So each of our divisions plus Arizona Early Intervention Program has a breakout room, and they present and provide updated information from their respective divisions and areas about what's happening in DES. So definitely a lot of engagement with our tribal partners. Obviously, we are focusing more on the government to government aspect. So we want to make sure that we are being inclusive in terms of how we do business at the state level here at DES, and making sure that we are in true government to government partnership with our tribal nations.
So Jocelyn, a couple of weeks ago, we heard a little bit about DES involvement with ACP. Are you involved with that at all? And and again, I think that we would like to include you in an overall discussion, but do you have any thoughts that you might want to share about that at the moment?
Sure. I think because we are a growing office, and any kind of, this can be for anybody, if there's anything that is involving tribes and also DES, please reach out to me, and I want to make sure I'm available just to kind of lend not only what kind of work that we're doing that might be a potential collaboration, but also just information that we know from that we are conversing with our tribal leaders. So we do meet with the tribal leaders on a regular basis. And so any kind of information that you might have, I can also share that as well as I do my individual meetings with the tribal leaders.
Okay. Thanks, Jocelyn. And again, I'll be in touch with you, but can you tentatively put on your calendar? You've been here pretty regularly, which I appreciate. But if you can tentatively put it on your calendar, that possibly next week I want to have this discussion about Indian country.
Sure. Thank you. And I put in my email in the chat as well as our OTR website address in the chat, so you can see that and check it out.
Okay, thanks, thanks, Jocelyn.
Mm-hmm.
Appreciate it. Anything else before I turn off the recording and kibitz with anybody who wants to stay online and kibitz? Going once, going twice. Okay.